guys, welcome to today's video and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mariola. I do a little bit of everything on this channel. I do some cooking videos, some product reviews, some Puerto Rico adventures, and law school videos, which this one is the latter, as you can see from the title. If you haven't been here before, I currently just finished my second year of law school. My first year was crazy because it was 2020, pandemic, all my classes were online. So this second year around, it was very different because we went back to in-school classes and I hadn't experienced that with this law school specifically. So it took a lot of getting used to. And what I've been doing is every end of the semester, I kind of try to vlog throughout. This time around, I tried to put all the clips together and they were way too long. So I decided to do another sit-down video like I did for my first semester. And this time, instead of recapping per semester, I'm gonna recap the whole year and give you guys a little bit about my experience and what are some tips that I learned. So the semester for August usually starts second week of August, but by the end of July, I was already in school mode. I was working as a student representative, and I still am, as one of the research engines that lawyers and students use. And so we're basically in charge of going around classes and teaching students and teachers how to use the research engine and make the most when they do their research, as well as they just study for exams, classes, and everything. So every year when classes are about to start, obviously we have new people coming in for both semesters. So usually we start out a little earlier because we have to give them a welcome presentation and kind of do an orientation on how to use the research platform. So that was what I was doing then the last week of July. And then the first week of July, I took a summer intensive class, which was so cool. I loved it. It was like a comparison between our law and a Cuban law, which you would think would be pretty similar, but it wasn't. And they had so many things that I thought we could adopt as well. So it was a super cool class. It was an intensive 1 week class. So I think it was about 3 hours every day. So definitely one of the things I recommend, if you're able to do summer classes, definitely do them. You get so much ahead of time. And I don't know, usually intensive classes might sound very intense, I know because of the word, but they're not super hard. And sometimes it's better just to get them done in like a couple of weeks/days versus a whole semester. And then I started my actual semester and it was very hard and I broke my record. I usually have my first breakdown closer to midterms in September. This time around, it was my first week and I broke the record and I was already having an anxiety attack because I felt so overwhelmed. So I'm gonna show you guys what my actual school schedule looked like, as I was working 2 part-time jobs and I was also doing classes full-time. So it got pretty crazy. And since I got so used to being at home for my online classes, it took a lot of getting used to driving, being stuck in traffic, and as well, time management was essential. I think I talk about it every single video I talk about law school, but this one really put me to the test. I thought I had gotten it down, but this semester, that's why I just had so many anxiety attacks, because I felt like I had no time for anything. I had so much to do, and then if I wouldn't stick to my schedule, I would go so behind with school. So as you can see with my schedule that I'm showing you now, I color-coded it because that's how I am. And one of the things that I would recommend if you're going to work as well as you study, just like I did, try to get a school job the way I did. One of them is a school job. It's really nice that you can work from your school and get those hours done. The only thing that would suck was that a couple days, at least with that specific job that I have, being the student representative, I don't think all of them might be that way. I would have, like I said, I would have to go to classes to teach students how to use the research engine and the platform. And sometimes it would be night classes. So I remember a couple of days of the semester where I would basically be in class at 9 a.m., so be in school by 8:30, and then I wouldn't leave till about 9:30 p.m. because I either had back-to-back classes, I had to work as well, and I had to stay for the nightly classes to teach the students. So those would be the days that would extra suck for me. Thankfully, it was once in a blue moon, maybe like 3 or 4 times a semester it happens, but when it happens, I dread it the week prior, and it is the longest day ever and I am exhausted. Another thing that helped me out a lot with my schedule was I tried to think 5 steps ahead, and what I did, I was just focusing on what I was doing. So with my schedule, you saw how crazy it was. It was just as crazy on my second semester. I'll show you as well so you can compare and contrast, but exactly the same thing. And what I would do is if I was working for work stuff, I would only focus on work. I would not focus on the fact that I had a midterm coming up or anything. And then once I clocked out of work, there was no more work thought of like everything I had to do next week. I would just focus on either school or myself. It took a lot to train my mind to do that, a lot, but I finally got it down towards the end of the semester, and that's why my second semester ran way smoother than the first one did. And that's why I think I finally got the time management down, because I was not as stressed. And the second time around for that second semester, I remember I was actually shocked because the second semester, like I said, I usually have my first breakdown around midterms week, but this time around, midterms week was so weird for me. So what I do is, and I stick to the schedule no matter what, and this is what helps me and works for me. But I make a schedule, so a month before the first midterm starts, I start writing out a schedule. And so every day, no matter what, I have to read 10 to 20 pages of a specific class. Obviously, I put them in order of the midterm, so that way I'm not like focusing on the last one too early. So I set it out every day, and no matter what, no matter if I'm busy, no matter if I'm tired or I don't want to do it, I have to do it. And in the end, it's way better than having to cram so much towards the end. And I feel like I just read those 10, 20 pages maybe 2 to 3 times, and then I just kind of remember it. I don't know, that's the way I work. And then by the time the week before midterms came around, I was so confident in everything that I knew. I was not stressing. I had no anxiety attacks during my midterm or finals this second semester, which was insanely impressive. Like, I was just waiting for the next breakdown and nothing was happening. And I remember telling my husband and my parents, and I'm like, I'm a little too relaxed, and I am super grateful, but I'm also really worried that something bad is gonna happen. So this second semester was a little busier, and they really put me to the test for the finals, because after we did midterms, we had that spring break week. So we went to Vegas, and then I came back, was back for a week, and then I went to Florida for a wedding. And then I came back, and there was like only 2 weeks for finals, and I felt like I had no time. And this second semester was a lot crazier as well, because not only did I take my core classes, I also had to take electives. So I decided to take 2 seminars, and for both seminars, the basically kind of only grade and the final grade was a research and an essay. And the essay had to be, so for one of them was 10 plus pages, and then the other one was like 25 pages. So I remember being very stressed, but never to the point of an anxiety attack, that I had to study for finals while I do my readings for the class for the week, working both jobs, and then also doing my research and writing the essays. So finals were a little bit crazier for me on top of all the trips that I just told you, but again, time management saved me. I did my homework on the plane rides. Whenever I had a break, I would study. Like, I did not let myself fall off my schedule. Granted, there were sometimes like maybe 2 days where I didn't do anything, but when I made out my schedule for my final studying, I allotted those 2 days as nothing is happening, because you have no time that day. Another thing I want to mention is that the seminars were so much fun, and I definitely recommend, if you can take some, to do so, because yes, the writing was a little bit tedious, and the researching, it was a lot of things, but in the end, I just felt so proud of both essays that I wrote. I think that would be pretty decent if I polished it a little bit more to publish in like a law school journal that we have here in Puerto Rico. So I don't know, that is what I'm aiming for this new year. I actually did apply for it, so we'll see if I get it. But definitely take those, because it helped me. I don't know, when I took my first year, they teach you how to research and write documents, but I feel like it's not until you actually practice it by yourself that you put to test what you know, and you also learn more skills. I recommend it, and that way you can add a lot of documents, because basically when you apply for different positions, they ask you for some type of memorandum or something, any kind of document that you wrote to showcase your abilities. So I think that's a perfect way that was too many P's. Perfect way to prepare your resume for when you do your applications. Another thing I want to highlight that is a historical event that everybody in my family prepares for, other than midterms and finals, is class registration. It is a disaster. I hate class registrations in Puerto Rico. I actually chose not to go to one of the best law schools here because I hate their registration system, and I was hoping this one would be better because it's a smaller school. It was not. It's a disaster every single time. I cry every single time, and unfortunately I had the worst experience this last time. So when I was in my second semester registering for my third year, I was in Vegas. There was a time difference, so I had to come back to the hotel around 7 p.m. Because I think it was 10 p.m. in Puerto Rico, which was registration, and it was on a Wednesday. And something I hate, yes, I'm gonna rant, I'm sorry, you can skip this part if you don't want to know. I don't think every school is like this, but if you're planning on going to law school in Puerto Rico, you need to hear this. They are a disaster. For some reason, my school decides to do it a day where they don't work. So usually it's Friday night, and obviously if you have any issues, you have to bring it up Monday, so you have to suffer all weekend. This time around, they did it Wednesday before spring break, so you had to wait until Monday after to come and complain. I was only able to register for 2 core classes, and then all those other ones that were core classes, they wouldn't let me register. And then when I tried to register for a summer class, it was already booked because I was having my issue. And so I started texting people, and they were all like, I had the same issue. So I was able to calm down because of that, and I just said, screw it. I enjoyed my Vegas trip. And when I came back Monday morning, the office opened at 8:30, 8 a.m. I was already sitting there. I was one of the first 5 people to arrive. And thankfully, because I went early, they were able to fix all the situations pretty easily. But it's just so freaking annoying. And I literally have no hopes for this next, I have only 1 more class registration. And I already know it's gonna be just as disastrous, so hate it. What I do is I always look at the class schedule, and I always create 2 different, plan A, plan B. If I'm able to get all these classes, this would be the perfect schedule. And plan B, in case some of those are full or something, or they clash or something happens, then that way I go, because you have to act so fast, it's so annoying. Okay, rant over. The last 2 things I want to highlight that I learned this last year of law school is definitely do not compare yourself to others. I had a couple of moments where I would get very discouraged and very frustrated at how well some of my classmates were just understanding specific topics that in my mind I was like, I still don't get it, and it was very annoying. So for example, the 2nd semester we did our evidence class, which I think was one of the trickiest classes ever, and he would do these mock midterms, and the first mock midterm I did great and I felt very great, and then that first midterm I got a great grade. But then when we did a couple mock finals, it's when things got complicated because it had to do with hearsay and all the exceptions, and I got very discouraged. I remember, and as well as my administrative law class, even though I loved it and I was getting everything, I don't know what happened. At some point we also got complicated, and it was towards finals. And I remember getting so discouraged because everybody was just like, oh my god, I understood that, yeah, I got a great grade, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, what is wrong with me? My thing is just don't compare yourself to others and believe in yourself, because all you just need is a little bit more time studying. I felt that way, and then at the end of the semester, I literally ended with A's and B's. I did great. So don't beat yourself up too much, and don't compare yourself to other people. I was gonna say one final tip. I think I mentioned it previously. As I said, to get a job at school, but also if you're able to get a law clerk job, you're going to learn so much about everything that you have learned in classes. Actually putting it into practice made me understand everything that I learned even more, especially that civil procedure class. When I would learn about how to do a complaint and stuff like that, I was like, okay, it's all too hypothetical, up in the air. But when you actually do it, you're like, oh, now I understand this. So I definitely recommend. I know you're gonna feel like there's too much on your plate, but I was able to survive full-time classes as well as 2 part-time jobs. So mimic it as much as you can to having similar jobs. I think you'll be able to do it, and you'll do so great at it, and you'll learn so much. But other than that, that was basically my law school experience in a nutshell. Obviously, there's so many other things that happened, but I just highlighted a couple of things that I learned and that I thought were important to highlight that happened. But I'm looking forward to this 3rd year. It's my last and final year. We actually have a simulated bar exam that I keep calling the baby bar, coming up on the 2nd week of August, a Saturday. So I've currently been spending the whole summer reviewing my previous notes. Thankfully, there's classes that I really remember and others that I do not. So I've just been reviewing in preparation. It's not for a grade. Nothing bad happens if you don't pass it, but I'm trying to take it as seriously as I can, as I did those mock midterms and finals I told you about, because I just want to take it as a lesson and help me, so that way I'm ready for the actual bar exam. And what I did notice is that this bar exam is going to be crazy. I thought, oh my god, I've been passing all my classes, I'm pretty sure I'll be doing pretty great. And as I reviewed it, I'm like, how in the world is my mind supposed to retain all these information and numbers? I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. So definitely for my 3rd year and final law school vlog, I will talk to you guys about how that simulated bar exam went. But I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. And if you have any questions about anything law school, or if you want to share any of your experiences or tips, make sure to comment down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!